By Masa Tehrani, MD, special to everyday health. Don't crack your knuckles. Most of us have heard that admonishment from our elders at one time or other regarding the so-called dangers of knuckle cracking. Somehow these hidden dangers would provoke me to secretly crack my knuckles, even if it was to just hear that loud noise. We have pondered what happens when knuckles are cracked for decades. In fact, since the 1940s, studies have been done on this very topic. Since then, two schools of thought emerged. One group of researchers initially concluded that joint cracking occurs when the two bones close to one another are stretched to a critical point where the cracking occurs. Subsequently, this leads to formation of a cavity within the joint due to the negative pressure resulting from the stretching. Several decades later, this view was challenged by another group. They proposed that the actual cracking is a result of the collapse of bubbles in the joints. Why knuckles crack? So what really happens when we crack those knuckles? A group in Alberta, Canada, recently set out to explain this phenomenon from a more modern scientific point of view. In their recently published article in PLOS One, Gregory N. Kotchik, Ph.D., and colleagues at the University of Alberta evaluated the events that take place inside the finger joint when a knuckle is cracked. They studied one candidate who allowed all 10 of his knuckles to be imaged via an MRI. The fingers of the test patient were connected to a device which essentially cracked his knuckles. This was all captured on MRI, and on video. Essentially, the research found in favor of the earlier school of thought. When a joint is cracked, the opposing bones that form the joint are stretched to a certain critical point. Enough negative pressure is formed inside the joint to cause the cracking sound and create a cavity. This cavity occurs as a result of the quick separation of the joints, causing dissolved gases in the joint fluid to emerge. What's taking place is called tribonucleation. After cracking, the joint will remain in a refractory, or resistant, state for approximately 20 minutes, during which you are usually unable to crack the same knuckle again. It's okay to crack your knuckles unless, first and foremost, you may not have to feel so guilty for occasionally cracking your joints. This group found that right after cracking, the joint space is not altered in any way, whereas previously it was thought that by cracking your joints, you increased the joint space. Occasional knuckle cracking shouldn't have any major ramifications. The finding that the joint rebounds back to its normal position after knuckle cracking supports this. However, people with underlying inflammatory arthritis, such as rheumatoid arthritis, have vulnerable, often fragile joints due to the underlying inflammation in the joint synovium. In this group, repetitive knuckle cracking may potentially place them at higher risk of injury and pain. Cracking an age-old myth: there is no evidence that knuckle cracking will lead to arthritis. However, you should be aware that part of getting knuckles to crack entails the gliding of tendons past one another. Whenever there is excessive repetitive activity in the tendons, the risk of inflammation also increases. Therefore, if you are looking to pick up a new hobby, knuckle cracking should not be at the top of your list. How to protect against joint damage? There is a strong association between trauma and later joint damage. Trauma can lead to degenerative arthritis in the joints. The best medicine we can practice now is preventive. Joint protective techniques can help maintain your joints in great shape. Scientists have found hormonal compounds released from fat cells that can increase arthritis risk. Therefore, maintaining your weight in a normal BMI range is one crucial joint protective measure. Another is to quit smoking. Cigarette smoking leads to a very specific biochemical reaction, citrullination, that may predispose some people to rheumatoid arthritis. So if you haven't already, kick the habit. Masa Tehrani, MD, is a board-certified rheumatologist with certification in musculoskeletal ultrasound, and the co-founder of Arthritis. Dr. Tehrani is also board-certified in internal medicine, and holds a master's degree in complementary and alternative medicine from Georgetown University. In addition, she has performed a year of oncology research at the National Institutes of Health, and been published in numerous peer-reviewed medical journals, including Blood and the International Journal of Rheumatology. Video credit, Kotchik et al. Photo, image source, Getty Images.